Welcome to the COMC Community Spotlight Show. Of course, it's presented by the great folks at Central Ozarks Medical Center, where your health is their mission. And we've got an old friend with us on the show today. It's Jerry Peters, and founder of Operation Life Support, which you've been running for several years now, you and your wife, Sherry. Let me give you a little bit of background on Jerry and some of the things he's done. Deputy United States Marshal, right? Anti-terrorism expert for the Department of State, 3 tours in Afghanistan, trained elite units, survived countless high-risk engagements. I mean, you have been through the fires, right? With a lot of this very high-stress stuff, and you live to talk about it.
That is correct, so far.
Yeah, so far, so good. But after you survived all that, after you made it through that, you started up Operation Life Support to help people that came through certain situations like you did, high stress stuff, because there's a price to pay for that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so somebody having gone through it, there would be nobody better to help people than somebody that's been through that.
Well, I always say whenever you're dealing with people in crisis, someone who's walked in the boots is the person who's the best to help them.
Yeah.
Whether that's a military or firefighter or police officer or a woman who's lost a child in labor.
Yeah.
The person that understands that better than anybody is someone who's lost a child.
Yeah.
So it's just that connection that you have because you understand exactly what they're going through.
And that's a good point. I mean, it's not just somebody who survived 3 tours in Afghanistan or a first responder or something. I mean, it can be day-to-day stuff.
Correct.
Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Life's pretty stressful if you haven't noticed that. So there is mental and emotional fallout from these crisis and trauma situations.
Yes.
And you deal with that. That's what Operation Life Support's about.
That's correct. And one of the big things we do is provide training to help people understand what tools they can have to cope with those things. One of the greatest issues we have, especially now in our nation, which people understand since COVID, is coping skills. Coping skills have gone out the window in a lot of ways. And mental health right now is dealing with major outbreaks of suicide and complicated mental health conditions.
Yeah.
Due to the stress that was originally created by COVID. And then the separation of our society that happened with that entire situation.
Wow.
Because you have people that for so long were not going places and having human interaction. They were just talking to people on the phone or through internet or whatever. And it separated our society.
Yeah, it did it in a big way.
Absolutely.
And I'm not sure, in fact, I'm pretty sure our society has not recovered from that yet.
No, it has not.
Right? And there are a lot of specific examples. School is an example, kids that didn't get to go to school and the effects that has had on them, but just everyday, people who didn't go into jobs either.
Right.
So studies show that there is cognitive issues that are suffered from high stress situations and stuff like that. So what's the difference between cognitive, all right, and then the mental emotional, or is that the same thing?
They're related.
Okay.
Cognitive specifically refers to your thinking, your process, the way you analyze and make decisions. And whenever you're under stress, your decision-making capabilities are complicated.
Yeah.
They get compromised in many ways. The stress releases different types of chemicals in your body that can cause you to have that fight or flight syndrome.
Yeah.
People that have the fight syndrome will lash out and get aggressive. People who have a flight syndrome will fall back and separate themselves from the people who care about them.
Yeah.
Which leads to depression. That goes back to the mental health issues.
Yeah.
The mental and emotional issues become depression, frustration, anger, all the different emotions that we deal with.
It's interesting to separate the ideas like that. I'd never done that before, the cognitive, the thinking part. And I think everybody can remember a situation, sudden stress, and all of a sudden the mind goes blank.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Or for other people, it would seem like a few people, stress hits and all of a sudden the mind kicks in.
Yeah, it goes one way or the other.
Right.
It will either shut down or it will go into hyperspeed. And then all these thoughts and ideas start coming at you. And that's why we tell people, when you are going through a stressful issue, don't make major decisions.
Right.
Because your decision-making capabilities are not efficient.
Right. They're not sitting on the normal plane.
No,
it's like, don't make big decisions after midnight,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Because usually you're not making good decisions.
Yeah,
that's
correct.
kind of a similar thing. All right. This is fascinating, talking about this. And society is under siege, so many people are dealing with high stress situations and trauma situations. So we're going to continue this conversation with our friend Jerry Peters here when we come back on the COMC Community Spotlight Show. At COMC, your health is our mission. Central Ozarks Medical Center offers 3 OBGYNs at the Osage Beach Clinic and 2 pediatricians with same-day appointments available. At COMC, our doors are open to everyone with 5 primary care locations conveniently located across the Ozarks. COMC for the best medical, dental, and behavioral health care. Get more info on how COMC can help you at centralozarks.org. COMC, where your health is our mission. Welcome back to the COMC Community Spotlight Show. We've got Jerry Peters with us. He is the founder, the operator of Operation Life Support. Helps people deal with the high stress trauma situations and the fallout from that. Because usually there's always some sort of damage done, some sort of fallout, right? Okay, so we've been talking about all these different forms of stress or trauma. It can be military stuff. I mean, like 3 tours in Afghanistan like you did and other stuff, or a firefighter running into a burning building, or a cop in a shootout, or anything like that that's high stress.
It could be a mom with triplets.
Talk about stress. Yeah.
There's so many things that create stress.
Yeah.
You can have a car accident that creates stress. You can have situations like we're dealing with now. We have elderly parents. They don't want to do the things they maybe need to do.
Yeah.
And trying to get them to understand what's better for them. And a lot of folks out there deal with elderly parents, and a lot of frustrations and stress that come from that.
No doubt. And again, that's just another good example of daily, everyday things that we have to deal with. How do these things affect just normal daily life when it comes to family or work or whatever the case might be? How does this stress affect things?
Well, you'll find people that will not be able to find their keys or their wallet when they've never lost their keys or wallet.
Yeah.
Little things like that. Forgetfulness as far as not being able to track through their day on their schedule. We all know that happens with old age. As you get older,
Seems
you
to,
forget
more and more, yeah.
And so I use a calendar very, very carefully. But there's so many things that can affect, but it also affects us physically. Doctors have proven, medical science has proven that stress causes heart disease.
Yeah.
Stress causes liver disease. It can cause ulcers and a variety of other physical attributes and problems.
So you mentioned earlier that part of what you do at Operation Life Support is you try to introduce tools to folks to be able to handle these situations.
Correct.
What are some of these tools?
One thing you want to do is, if you're under a stressful situation, you need to disconnect.
Okay.
You need to pull yourself away from that situation, get yourself in a happy place, whether that's an activity. Some people like to play golf, some people like to run. Get yourself in a position where you can get away from that event.
Yeah.
Clear your mind, clear your thoughts, and physical activity is a great source for that.
Really? Okay.
That's why they say that exercise is so important. And a lot of folks in our country don't exercise.
Yeah.
And so exercise in itself releases endorphins and things into your system that help you cope with stress. Your body can naturally do it.
Right.
We have just not learned how to do that.
Right. Well, and again, the way technology has advanced things, we're encouraged not to exercise. We're encouraged to sit there and look at our computer or look at our phone or whatever, and that's kind of going in the opposite direction. You've done a lot of traveling in your life. I mean, in your military career, obviously you were all over the world and stuff like that.
Yeah. Not military.
Okay.
I've explained to you before, I was assigned to military units.
Right.
Through Department of State, Department of Defense, Department of Justice. I was not in the military. I was the United States Marshal. So there's I want to make that differentiation.
To the military, right.
And it's a paramilitary organization.
A lot of travel, though, in that.
Oh,
so you've
absolutely.
seen places all over the world, but you just like to travel for fun, right?
Uh-huh.
Where's your favorite place? Where do you like to go just to travel for fun?
We've traveled all over the country, and of course, I've traveled different places around the world. I've told folks that you can travel this nation, the United States, for your entire life and never see everything that we have to offer. It's a great country to travel in.
Yeah.
I really like the Southwest. We love national parks, state parks. We do a lot of hiking.
Yeah.
Mountains, rivers, waterfalls. We look for certain things.
Yeah, I like that nature stuff.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
And then you travel for work, Operation Life Support. I mean, we were trying to do a show here a while back, and you were in Washington, D.C., and then you were going to be, at state capital, I think Alabama or someplace like that. So you see a lot of that kind of travel too. Do you enjoy that?
That can be stressful. Spending a week in D.C. with Senate and Congress can be an interesting thing.
Wow. Yeah.
But then I also went down to Alabama and spoke at the state capitol. That was received very well. And those things were related specifically to traumatic brain injury, TBI.
Okay. Yeah. Do folks who are dealing with this stress and trauma, fallout, the scars that come with that, do they have a hard time asking for help? Is there a stigma that goes with that?
There is mental health in our nation as a whole, and this would be considered a mental health issue.
Yeah.
Mental health has a very negative connotation, that you're going crazy or you're a certain kind of person. I've tried to explain to people, everyone has difficulty.
Yeah.
Some people cope with it better than others. And the reason we need help is because we were designed in our system, our mind and our body and our spirit, we're designed to interact with other people.
Yeah.
And so when we begin to separate ourselves from that interaction, and we begin to walk away because of burnout, is what a lot of times it's called, but we walk away because we get under stress, then we've actually done ourselves a disservice. And there are groups of people that are worse at asking for help than others.
Okay.
It's a common fact that women are more likely to ask for help than men are.
Right.
You can take those groups and separate them even further. A military person, a first responder, is much less willing to ask for help than others.
Interesting.
Part of that is partially related to the fact that it can affect their career.
Yeah, that's true.
So they have a concern about that. Our nation is getting better at recognizing that and not just throwing somebody out the door because they have some issues to deal with. They're becoming better at helping.
Yeah.
We're not there yet.
Yeah, still making strides in the right way. So Operation Life Support, obviously a very good tool for folks dealing with this, stress and trauma fallout. How do folks get more information about Operation Life Support?
We have a website, operationlifesupport.com. It is geared more towards the military and first responder realm because that's where we focus. I do work outside of that realm, but there's such a need. It's difficult sometimes to fulfill that. But our website, operationlifesupport.com, has information in there. It has my email address so people can contact me directly for speaking, for sessions if they want to do group sessions like corporations. I do corporate crisis intervention. Those things are available.
Okay. Jerry Peters, Operation Life Support. Thank you, sir. We'll have you back, do some more shows.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show.